Hello again, I'm Stephen Jerome, and I'm going to continue reading from my third novel, The London Year. This is part 62, and I hope you can hear the bird that's singing away in the background. It's so great. Terry's talking about process, the job of being a personal photographer for Sebastian. Shooting Polaroids is not the same as shooting with a standard film camera. First, the film is limited, only 10 shots to a pack. It kept me from flashing at every random impulse, which is exactly what Sebastian didn't want. He wanted considered moments along with that Polaroid feel. Having worked with all the top photographers, as well as the best magazine and fashion house stylists, he was not just a connoisseur of photography as a process, but had become a collector as well. It was through Sebastian I learned the language of fine art photography and about the artists like Duane Michaels, Herbert List, Alfred Stieglitz, and Diane Arbus. I already knew the great fashion photographers from the fashion magazines. One reads about the swell functions, celebrity parties, the beautiful people. 99% only know that world from a distance, but suddenly I was in its center. Our outings became a weekly, often thrice weekly thing. I began to spot the same people at different clubs, openings, and private receptions. Sebastian was invited to all of them. I accompanied him so often I was kind of accepted as his de facto +1. When I didn't have a name, it was, "Oh, you're Sebastian's photographer." And even that was pretty cool. But my job was to craft his image. As such, my eyes were always on him, ready for a quick glance to indicate that he wanted a shot of some particular person or small group. To my surprise, Sebastian wanted fewer shots with famous people or the glamorous types who sweetened the social mix, favoring a more savory ingredient. These people, always men, were not exactly unsavory. They just seemed a little out of place. I'd seen them at the New Year's Eve party, too. Now I was taking their picture and slowly getting the picture. Rule number 1 was to never give away the shots. I quickly learned a deft sleight of hand. As every frame slid out of the camera, I spirited it straight into the pocket of my jacket, where it developed sight unseen. When people protested, Sebastian would say, "It's for my archives, darling," which usually ended the matter. Mostly, they just wanted to be seen with him, and that was the favor he was giving out. It was portraiture on the fly, an instant of trust between photographer and subject that is purely intuitive. In my photos, everyone was always looking at the lens. I was photographing people, not bodies, not looking at them, but for them. But context is everything. I was often the only photographer in an exclusive setting. In that context, a person who normally shies from the paparazzi, usually resulting in a pained, unflattering photo, would relent in deference to the host, who obviously granted permission for me to be there in the first place. People who might not smile for the camera actually did for me. Only once did a very famous American actor bark rudely, "Don't take my fucking picture," just as I took the picture. It became a moment published for posterity. What a jerk. I never watched any of his movies again. I also learned how to read the light, as Sebastian had said, and create different looks. Balancing my flash with the room's ambient light or the lack of it, I could create an image that was stark and bright, or make Sebastian's caramel skin dark and fierce so those famous blue-green eyes sparkled like sun points on water. And one more thing, a crucial piece of advice I read somewhere from photographer Robert Capa. If your pictures aren't good enough, they're not close enough. I took this very much to heart, and it didn't make everyone comfortable. I once photographed Sebastian with Joan Collins. "You're so close," she said as I stepped in for the money shot, but Capa was right. The shot was better than good and published in Tatler, a full-frame Polaroid, Andy Warhol style, just a week later. Okay, I'm going to stop right there. We'll continue with part 63 tomorrow. Thank you again for following along. Much appreciated. Bye-bye.